I read a story today that so sums up this country's craziness, or maybe it's just the craziness of the Albanese government, let's hope. But here it is in the Financial Review. Defence looks to hydrogen to fulfil ambitious climate goal. And it says the Defence Department is trying to achieve net zero emissions, not by 2050 like the Albanese government wants, but 2040, 10 years earlier than the national deadline for the same objective, including through investigating the use of hydrogen and alternative liquid fuels, as in alternative to nasty oil and gas. Now, the problem, of course, is that hydrogen is a gas made from water using huge amounts of electricity. And, well, it hasn't actually yet produced at scale or economically. We don't know if it's going to work. And it's very hard to use. Hydrogen is highly flammable. And the molecules are so small, so tiny, that the gas can actually leak from normal pipes and then boom. But our Defence Forces, don't you worry about that. They're going to faff around with this gas, trying to get it to work for the next 18 years, spending money, investigating and holding committee meetings and working out ways of trying to convert our fighting machines so they can maybe use this hydrogen, if we can actually find enough for them to use. So they're going to waste all this time and money when experts are already warning that our armed forces don't even have enough money and weapons to defend this country from a war that some say could break out in the next 5 or 10 years. Now, the whole thing is so stupid from the get-go, because our army could convert every truck and tank we have to hydrogen. The planet wouldn't even notice. We could fly every RAF plane on hydrogen. We could convert every naval ship and sub to hydrogen. Still, zero effect on the climate. We're just too small for the planet to notice. So here's the bottom line. We have a military that doesn't have the money and the weapons to defend us from China, but it does magically have the money to now pretend to fight the clouds. We have a military that can work out how do they reckon to make this hydrogen work. But they don't have the know-how even to make our own missiles to defend us. So I say sack them. Just sack them. Sack every one of the generals or admirals or commodores that said to the government, yep, doing this useless climate stuff is our priority. Or perhaps we should sack the government, although we just had an election, sack the government they're trying to suck up to. I mean, seriously. Meanwhile, hostile countries that threaten us, that aren't too stupid to fall for this, they aren't too stupid to fall for this global warming hysteria. I mean, they're busy trying to get stronger, not weaker. And I'm talking about the axis of evil. Now, the term sounds to many people too melodramatic, and I don't know if enough people actually take this axis of evil seriously. I'm talking about the growing alliance between Russia's brutal regime, China's dictatorship, and Iran's Islamic fascist sponsors of terrorism. They are united as authoritarian regimes with a common enemy. It's the West and it's democracy. Now, World War II, the axis of evil was Tojo's Japan, Hitler's Germany, and Mussolini's Italy. Now it's Putin's Russia, Xi's China, and Khamenei's Iran. And we are talking about some seriously evil countries, you might even think unhinged. I mean, evidence number one, Vladimir Putin. But here is a nicely topical example. Here is how Iran, a member of this axis of evil, marked the death of Queen Elizabeth on the government's main television station by likening her to Hitler.
ملکه انگلیس مرد، خبری که برای مستضعفین جهان خبری خوب به شمار میاد. ملکه‌ای که طی 70 سال سلطنت کارنامه‌ای مشهون از جنایت، پلیدی و پلشتی از خودش.
ملکه انگلیس یکی از جنایتکارترین شخصیت‌های تاریخ بشر هست. با توجه به این 70 سالی که ایشون سلطنت میکرد. یعنی شاید مثلا هیتلر در کنار ایشون لیست بشه.
And you actually get people like President Joe Biden thinking they still can deal with a regime like that. Iran, by the way, has given Russia weapons to use in President Putin's war in Ukraine. China's dictator will meet Putin again this week. He's been propping Putin up by buying more of his gas and oil and supporting his war. Now, do any of those guys look like the kind of people who will tell their militaries, oh, hang on, guys, hang on, new priority here. We're going to fight global warming. We're not going to fight Ukrainians or Taiwanese or Jews. We're going to fight the clouds. And I'll say it again. Sack every senior officer who said, yes, Minister, this must be how we spend our military budget.